All right, so we're going to do something different today. I'm going to answer a question I've received in my inbox, all right? So I'm going to read the question and then I will try to explain to the best of my ability what I think about the question, all right? So the question goes on like that. I've kind of cut certain pieces out of it, like for example, the person's name and maybe a few things which were a bit personal in the question, but I've kept the raw content so that we still get the context right, all right? So the question is as follows. So I've read somewhere in one of your posts, you mentioned that the blame is on you. You don't feel any angry since you tend to think that it is your fault, all right? My boyfriend does the same thing, taking all the blame and suffers from inferiority complex. So I would like to understand why some people take the blame and not feel the anger. And I would appreciate to have your thoughts on this. All right. So I actually mentioned it quite a lot that I do take all the blame. It's all on me. And it's something I do constantly. I'm my worst critic, for example, and I do take everything on me. But what I mean is that it's not from a victim perspective. So the way it's being linked to the girl's boyfriend here is that she's saying that my boyfriend does the same thing, takes all the blame and suffers from inferiority complex. It's not from the same perspective that I meant that I take all the blame. So I would like to give a few examples just to elaborate on what I really meant. So what I really mean is that when I say I take all the blame, it means that I'm taking full responsibility of the result, which is not always fair, but the ability to take full responsibility of something which happens, okay? The power of it is that it first of all makes you become responsible. So that's what I'm saying, taking full responsibility. That's the first thing. And the second thing, which is really, really powerful, is that when you're taking all the blame on you, you don't feel any resentment towards the people who possibly inflicted pain on you. So that's the second big disadvantage. And the third one is, since it's all on you, you're going to really look at you and check where you went wrong. It's actually an act of courage, bravery, because you're going to really look at where the problems are and you're going to do your best to fix it because it's your fault, right? So that's what I meant. So these are the three things which come to my mind when I say everything is my fault. It's not the victim personality, it's actually taking it all on you and yeah, moving on. Now, how do we put it in a context? I'm going to give you a few examples where where someone can possibly practice it. The first one would be, let's assume we have a case where we've got, let's say we get our trust broken, right? So the main reflex for most people is actually putting the blame on the other one. Okay, you did that to me. But what I would do would be that, okay, so I've got my trust broken, so it's my fault because I trusted the person too much. So that's what I would do. I would say it's my fault, I trusted the person too much, and then it's something I need to fix. I don't need to trust people easily. So that's how we take full responsibility. And the same thing applies to lots and lots of things. Let's say you get your heart broken. Once again, you've trusted too much. You've opened up to people who had the wrong intent. So you messed up, it's your fault. And it gives a certain sense of control to your life when you take full responsibility, because you're not going to blame the other person, you're not going to blame it on the stars, you're not going to say it's your destiny. You're really going to analyze and dissect, okay, this is what happened. I take full responsibility. So what did I really do before, which contributed to this outcome. So you go backwards, you do like a sort of regression analysis, let's say. You go backwards and you really check what are the things you did so that it contributed to this event. And then you sort it out. So this is what I meant when I say it's all my fault. It is. You really need to check where you went wrong and what are the things that need to be fixed. Now, it's a sort of mentality. It's not like it's truth when you say it's all your fault. It's kind of a warrior mentality when things don't go the way they should go. Instead of blaming people, which is a weakness, I think. Instead of blaming people, feeling resentful, trying to seek vengeance and all these things which are not healthy towards ourselves and others. We take full responsibility and then we try to sort out our lives. So this is what I meant when I said that it's all our fault. But in the bigger picture, let's say, you're not in full control of everything. So that's the mentality you need to have when that thing happens to you, so that you have that courage to take it all on you. And actually we are more powerful than what we think. When these things happen, we can really take it all on us and then use that bitterness we feel because of what happened and use it as fuel to really check where are our weaknesses and kind of go there and destroy those weaknesses. So that's what I meant. Now, in the bigger picture, what I was going to say was that there are some things we control and there are some things we don't control. And really understanding what are the things we control. So in this case, it's our attitude, our bravery, our willpower, our ability to take full responsibility. These are the things in our control which we can practice and we can get better and better and better at those things. So these are the things in our control and we can actually work on them and become better and better. But there are some things which are not in our control, like whether it's going to rain. Sometimes whether people betray our trust also, it's not in our hands, you know. What is in our hands is maybe we need to take more time to trust people. Okay, don't trust people easily. So these are things in our hands, but even with those things, sometimes we don't always get it right, so it's tricky. So when things happen, it's not in our hands, but the way we cope with those things and the way we look at things, the perception, that's totally ours. So when these things happen to you, they can either destroy you completely, but the reason why they would destroy you completely is because you're allowing it to happen. And this is why I have that mentality that it's all my fault, because I won't let it happen. When I take full responsibility, I won't allow that event to crush me. Instead, I'm going to use this event as a sort of energy to make myself more stronger. So if this happened to me, okay, very good. So yeah, there is a weakness in me. That's why I'm feeling all this sadness and bitterness. And that's why I allowed it to happen. I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to use that energy to actually fix myself rather than blame people for what they did. So I hope that I've been able to really clarify my position on the idea of everything is my fault. So when I say it, it's not from a victim perspective, but it's really from a perspective where you're taking full ownership of what happened. So I hope that was really clear.